Hi, I'm attorney David Banas, and welcome to Elder Law Talks. On today's episode, we're going to talk about powers of attorney, the different types of powers of attorney, and why they're so important, particularly when we're talking about taking care of our elderly loved ones, whether that be a spouse, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, or whomever. So really, there are two main types of powers of attorney. There's a durable power of attorney for healthcare, which allows an individual appointed to make all healthcare decisions related to another individual as if they were standing in their shoes. There are provisions in the power of attorney that relate to the issuance of DNR orders, what to do if an individual is permanently unconscious and unable to recover, and a feeding tube isn't doing them any good, not relieving any comfort or relieving any pain or providing any comfort. And the healthcare power of attorney is very important for all of us, but particularly for an individual who is in their elderly years and perhaps dealing with a long-term care episode. Again, it allows maybe a son or a daughter to talk and meet with and review all the medical records at a nursing facility, to meet individually with social workers and the medical staff to make sure that mom or dad are getting absolutely the care that they need and that they deserve. The other type of a power of attorney, which is in my mind the most underrated estate planning mechanism in the history of the world, is a durable financial power of attorney, where you name another person to take all actions with respect to your finances in your estate as you would be able to do yourself. And the reason why it's so important for particularly an elderly individual to have this simple document in place is that if someone has a stroke, a fall, something that lands them in the hospital and eventually into a nursing home, someone is going to have to potentially apply for Medicaid for that individual. And applying for Medicaid isn't just filling out the application and sending it to the client. Before we apply for Medicaid, we do an analysis, working with the power of attorney while mom or dad, again, is in the hospital or nursing home. We do an analysis of all of the finances, and we figure out what is countable for Medicaid eligibility, what can we save for perhaps the community spouse, whose name is the house in, do we need to transfer that to the spouse that remains in the community? Are there any transfer exemptions available to us? For instance, if an individual has a child with a disability of any age, you can transfer that individual's assets to that disabled child without a penalty. There's no 5-year look back on those types of transfers. And then that individual will be able to qualify for Medicaid. So there's a lot of opportunity to plan. And if a good power of attorney is in place, I'm able to engage with, again, spouse, son, or daughter. And more, I'm dealing with the adult sons and daughters of individuals in the nursing homes by them being a power of attorney. If we have opportunities to save some assets, preserve some assets, that power of attorney can sign deeds if it's a properly drafted power of attorney, can establish annuities, for instance, can establish pooled trusts, qualified income trust, all the things that we may need to do to benefit the family, to make sure that the individual is able to qualify for Medicaid, can be done through a properly drafted power of attorney naming someone else to carry out those actions. And so I can't stress enough how important both powers of attorney are, but to have the conversation, it's a fairly low-tech document, durable power of attorney for finances. But it's not something that should just be downloaded online, the statutory form. That doesn't take into account a lot of the things that we may need to do if we're facing a Medicaid application. Again, like creating trusts, like making gifts, even if they're permissible under the Medicaid Act. If it's not authorized for the power of attorney to do it, then we run into some trouble. So make yourself aware of who your surrogate decision makers are around you, and take the steps to put a good power of attorney in place and start talking about these things now, while everybody is able to, and if you're able to. So we know here at Hickman and Lauder that big changes start with small steps, and we're here to talk you through it, and we look forward to being here for you in the future. Thanks.